Hello, everyone. You're watching Folk Project Television. I'm your host, Joe Guzzo. On today's show, we'll be talking with Abby Posner. Now, Abby currently lives in California, is a singer-songwriter and a composer, and she plays just about every instrument that has come within her reach. So I'll be sharing some of Abby's music with you later in the program as well. If you haven't already done so, please be sure to hit the subscribe button here on this YouTube channel. I have some great shows in the works, more interviews, more music you may not have heard before, so keep your eyes and ears open for those upcoming announcements. And without any further delay, let me introduce you to Abby Posner.
Hey, how you doing, Joseph?
I'm well. How are you doing, Abby?
I'm excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, welcome to the show. I'm sure that our viewers will be very pleased to meet you, and they're going to love your music, I'm sure.
Well, thank you very much. I'm excited to be here and to get to know some of your viewers if they want to contact me or subscribe here. I'm just excited to expand to the Jersey region.
One of the things I like to do is to ask my guests how they got their start. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I started playing music when I was really young. When I was about 6 years old, I started playing piano. I took lessons for a few years and then immediately fell in love with the guitar and the sound of the guitar. My mom played a little bit around the house. She was also taking lessons when I was young. And I was just really inspired to pick that up. So I started taking guitar lessons. And then I quickly realized that I was extremely non-committal and instrumental polyamorous, and I decided to teach myself drums and bass and banjo and mandolin and pretty much anything I could get my hands on because I was just fell in love with music. And then I went to California in 2002. I came here to study at Cal Arts, and I was able to be in this kind of perfect degree. I studied multi-instrumentation. I learned Pro Tools and production. I learned world music, Latin percussion. I got to study with Larry Coons, who is an amazing jazz guitarist. So it was kind of the perfect program for me. And then in 2006, I graduated, and I've been doing music full time ever since. I've been teaching private lessons, I've been touring, and also composing and scoring for various films. I've also had a few TV spots playing music in various shows, and I've written for a lot of different music libraries and publishing companies, and focused on sync music as well. So I've really been kind of a professional juggler in terms of the music industry, and I've been fortunate to be doing it full time. As much of a hustle as it is, and as exhausting as it is, I'm so grateful to be doing what I love.
Now, I already know the answer to this, and I'm sure that our viewers will find it of interest. But why don't you tell us about others you played, you work with?
Yeah, so I used to be like a little bit more of a session player slash hired gun. I was on the road with other artists, playing as a side person. So I played with Chris Purica for a little while. I played drums and banjo with her. I played with an amazing country artist named, formerly known as Michael Ann Azulay, and she toured all over the coast, Seattle, Portland, and we did like a few shows in wine country. And then I decided I wanted to just really focus on my own writing. I've been playing with my band Abby and the Myth, MYTH, for about 4 years now, and we've toured and we play in Los Angeles quite a bit. Our home venue is Hotel Cafe, so we play there quite a bit. For those of you that have been to Los Angeles,
I understand that you were not hit too hard by the pandemic. Why don't you tell our viewers why?
Yeah, I was actually one of the extremely fortunate ones. I had just wrapped a tour in February, and that was a solo tour that I did for 2 weeks. And then, right when the pandemic started, I was actually scheduled to start scoring for a feature documentary. Now that was challenging because the plan was to have, string players that I was arranging for all in one room. But instead, I had to, arrange everything in my space, send out the tracks, and have them send me everything. It was a lot of work, but I was able to do it remotely.
Hmm.
And that was most of, I'd say, March and April. We wrapped that project in May. I was able to transfer all of my private lessons to Zoom and FaceTime, so that was pretty fortunate. Like, weekly lessons kind of kept me going. And then I was also really forcing myself to get comfortable with Zoom and online performances and just the streaming thing. Uh, I was able to get there and kind of find a love for that. There's something kind of special about Zoom concerts where you can see a Zoom concert all the way where you are, and you can watch
Hmm.
someone play in LA. So it wasn't by any means like the easiest thing, but I was very lucky that it didn't affect me too much. I started writing my album in the pandemic as well.
Well, yeah, I know what the challenges of Zoom can be. I
Hmm.
was asked back in March of last year to create this show, and originally the concept was going to be just to replay music from the Horses Sing None of It archive, which was a cable television show that's been airing for, oh my gosh, 30, 40 years, something like 30, 35 years. Uh, Eventually, we decided, hey, why not occasionally bring on a guest and do an interview? And that actually was our very, very first show. It was with little Toby Walker, incredibly talented blues musician. And he and I had a good time with that. But the technology threw me for a loop for a while. And eventually I got it worked out where I could figure out how to do everything. Now, with the fact that we have this technology, we also get audiences, like you said, way people that would never have a chance to see it. So this is a good thing about Zoom, Facebook, or FaceTime rather, Facebook too. Facebook has live, um, and all the other streaming platforms. They really help us, and it's kept the industry. What life we have is because of that.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. It's pretty amazing that we were able to jump on that and learn how to do it and be somewhat successful. I mean, it was definitely a heartbreaking year for a lot of musicians, and
Hmm.
they had scheduled summer tours. I had not done that. I didn't have to cancel a tour. Um, I think that there were really good things that came out of the pandemic, and I think there were just really heartbreaking times. But it was a good time to reflect. That's for sure.
Now, when the lockdown occurred, I'm sure that you decided you're going to stay safe as well. Why don't you tell us about what it was like at home for you?
Yeah, so I had actually moved to a this studio here. I moved during the pandemic, and I wanted to kind of have a space that I could really create. And I kind of started to transform it into a recording studio and soundproofing. And my partner and I just intentionally decided to live separately because we're both working from home. We're both extremely hard workers and very focused, and this situation just worked out. It's kind of an amazing thing where I'm able to be here, make my music, focus, and then spend time with her as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. I've been living with my wife the entire time, and she still doesn't want to kick me out of the house. So that's a good
Well,
thing.
that is a very good thing. I see that you guys survived.
That's right. In fact, if anything, we find it's been a pleasure to
Good.
be with her full time and not worry about the interactions of too many other people. Although I
Yeah.
miss my family, my daughter, and my grandkids.
Yeah, good.
Now, what are your plans coming up in the near future?
I'm actually extremely busy right now. I have an album coming out, a solo record coming out under my name, Abby Posner, in November. My first single from the record is coming out August 6th. It's called Emergency Use Only. And then I'm going to be releasing a lot of different content in between now and the album release, and planning a record release tour as well. That is my booking agents are currently working on that. So we've got
Hmm.
kind of all the team players are working. I've got my publicist working, and yeah, it's all systems go right now. I'm really excited about this album.
Well, coming out from under the pandemic's umbrella here, I know a lot of people are just chomping at the bit to get out there. So I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell them: just make sure you stay safe.
Yes, yes. I'm fully vaccinated, and I know that we still have to be really cautious and mindful. And I've been very safe so far, playing outdoor shows,
Hmm.
doing. Things are opening up here. We're playing a big indoor show August 7th at Hotel Cafe, but just being as safe as we can. I think that venues are trying to keep things like at half capacity, and I know certain venues are even checking to make sure people are vaccinated.
Oh, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Now, you have some music for us, right?
Yeah, I sure do. I'm going to actually play some songs from my upcoming album.
And what's the name of this first song?
So I'll play one of the singles that I'm going to be releasing. It's called Low Low Low. And the song is actually, I wrote this during the pandemic. The song is actually about approaching sadness in a different way, and approaching depression in a different way. We hear so often like, oh, get over it, shake it off, move on, right? But this was more of a song about holding space for your sadness, and
Hmm.
being able to kind of get to know it a little bit better, and also just embracing the kind of wide range of human emotions, because sadness can actually open doors. It can force you to get to know yourself in a better way, and that's kind of what the song is about.
Oh, great. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we listen to it?
Excellent. All right.
I don't feel right today. Something in my head's got me going. Well, I don't wanna get high anyway. Been living in the clouds for too long, when life as we know is on hold, and all that we have is time. Low, 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 low is feeling mighty fine. Well, I don't wanna get right with God, 'cause I don't even know who that is. Please don't make me write another song. I just wanna feel like this, wrapped in the quiet alone, with days stretching out so long. Low, 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 low. wide open. Let the world hit the brakes and watch it all end. Let the world hit the brakes and start over again. I don't feel right today. Something in my head's got me going. I don't feel right today. Been living in the clouds, living in the clouds, living in the clouds.
Okay, that was an absolutely beautiful song. I wish I could write that well. It was good. It was really good.
Thank you so
You're
much.
very welcome. You're very welcome. Now, I'm going to ask you some questions that may seem kind of silly.
That's fine. I'm a silly
But
person.
what's your most useless talent?
Oh gosh, my most useless talent. That's a really good question. I mean,
I'm not trying to put you on the spot here.
no. I've never really thought about. I think I have a lot of useless talents, but I, when I think about what I'm good at, I'm really only good at like two things, and that's, because I've put so much time into it, and that's, music, and then also just, I'm a highly sensitive person. It's actually a thing. It's called HSP. My dad and I have been emailing back and forth about this. And so I learned how to like process my feelings and like talk about things at a very young age. I don't think that that's a useless talent, but those are kind of the two things that come to mind. I'm going to have to think about that one. It might come up later on.
Okay.
Where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a really good slinky thrower. Like, I don't know what. I'll have to think about that.
Well, if I were being thrown that question on the spot, I'd probably sit there and flounder too. So don't feel bad.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I'm sure I have a lot of useless talent. I mean, sitting around and listening to podcasts, is that a talent? There you go. There's a useless talent.
I think that's a career. Today, that's a career.
Yeah. I'll think about that.
Okay. Now we have a lot of things going on, and a lot of the stories that we hear. Have there been any stories that come out of your personal life in the last few months or the last year that you might want to share with us today?
Yeah. So like I said, my partner and I decided to live separately during the pandemic, and also when just prior to meeting my partner, she has been in the fertility process for a while now. This like outdates me. She has really wanted to be a mom. And she was so smart to make that happen. I mean, we're so fortunate nowadays with the technology and the science that we have for freezing eggs and freezing embryos and, LGBTQ people like myself and like others that want to be parents are able to do it in a really wonderful way now. So my partner during the pandemic got pregnant. And there is a little girl in our lives. Her name is Clementine. She's 3 months old. And actually, one of the songs on the record is about what I thought it would be like to have a kid in my life. And I wrote it years ago. I wrote it 2 years before Clementine was born. And it's basically about the beginning of like, chaotic baby times to the end where you just feel like heartbroken that they're leaving for college. It's a kind of a journey song. And so far, I feel pretty accurate about the experience. with the prediction of the song. And so that's something that has been definitely affecting my life. And, we're doing things in a very unconventional way. There are so many different kinds of families and different ways that partners show up for their partners that want to be parents. So I'm kind of like a step parent to Clementine.
Well, it's first of all, congratulations.
Thank you so
You're
much.
very welcome. And let your partner know I expressed those sentiments as well.
Yes.
I understand that I call it the non-traditional family. It means nothing. It's such a silly term that everybody seems to want to use. And I think family is family is family. It makes no difference
Exactly.
what partners are together and, whether it's the traditional male-female roles or something other. It should make no difference.
Exactly.
And,
it's a beautiful thing to be able to embrace that, because I think so often we get caught in our mindset about this textbook relationship of, oh, it's a man and a woman, and you first you move in, then you get married, then you have 1 to 4 kids, and that's just we're in 2021 right now, and it is a very different time, and there are family looks so different for everyone.
I did the traditional family 3 times. I had 1 child, however, with my first wife, and it's not easy. With the traditional family, doesn't always work the way you expect it to.
And that's why you kind of have to, my partner and I talk about this regularly. As long as we decide to be together and choose to be together, we get to sculpt and craft our relationship in our own unique, creative way that works for us. And when it stops working for us, and we decide, if we decide that we're going separate ways, then we, move on. Just like you did with your past relationships, you have to kind of be creative collaborators in a future together. And if that stops working and you can't craft it or sculpt it anymore, then that's life, right?
That's exactly right. And I have a grandson that's part of the Let me see if I can do this without getting my tongue.
It's a lot. It's a mouthful.
LGBTQ community.
Got it.
I know. I just had to think about it for half a second. I've said it 1,000 times, and all of a sudden I stumbled over it.
I still stumble. Yeah, I just say queer, and a lot of people that are older, in an older generation, find it very uncomfortable. But queer is actually a really good umbrella word. I don't know that it's something that only queer people say, but that's how I identify.
I had a good friend that I knew a few years. He passed away about 3 or 4 years ago now, but he was gay, and he used the word faggot, and he said, doesn't bother me. And he said, but so many people, if I use that word, they get upset and they want to strangle me. And I can understand words sometimes can be said in a hurtful manner, and sometimes they mean nothing. And
it changes. I think words evolve over time. Especially the word queer has become a really empowering word for the LGBTQ community. It used to be so harsh, and it used to be such an insult. And so when I say it to folks that are, my parents' age and maybe a little bit younger, there's always a pause. Like, why? But in my generation, and kind of like 20s, 30s, and 40s, I believe a lot of people are identifying more and more with that word.
Right. Now, I understand that you have a lot of wonderful music out there, and you promised us at least a couple more, and I'd like to hear what you might be doing for your second song today.
I'll do 2 more. I'm gonna actually, since we talked about the song about what it would be like to be a parent from the beginning to the end, I'm gonna actually play that one. It's called Fall Apart. And then I'm gonna end with the single that is actually coming out in August, and that will be emergency use only. But yeah, let's go for Fall Apart.
All right, wonderful.
All right, so here's Fall Apart.
Are you weary of early mornings? Fits fits and furies without a warning, losing sleep endlessly. There's no place to run. Darling, have you had enough? Are we moving or slowly fading? All the dreams that you have been chasing. No more quiet, no more choosing. You can't slow down time. Now I can't get enough. And in the eyes of spring, you've never known a love like this. It will hook your heart. You will fall apart in the best way. Like twisted branches, messy rooms, all those crooked dances, turning pages of knights and saviors. You can't turn back time, and now you can't get enough. And when the den is clear, you will dread the silence, dear. It will break your heart. You will fall apart in the best way.
Right, that's a wonderful song, absolutely wonderful. And now, in hindsight, did you nail it? Or you?
I mean, we're really only like, she's only 3 months old, and I think that I nailed the first part of it about like, you know, the first, I'd say 2 months are just very blurry and a lot of not sleeping, and I, you know, like I said, I'm kind of stepping in as a support partner, so I do get to come back here and replenish and then rest a bit, and then come back and be there for like four nights in a row. So being a part-time parent, I would say it is very accurate in terms of the early mornings, fits and furies. You know, she actually started to sleep like amazing in the last 3 weeks. It's just straight through the night, which is very rare for a 3-month-old. She's actually a champion sleeper. So I'm so happy for her and for my partner, because that's means that she gets to rest too.
Yeah, my daughter, when she was born, you're gonna hate me after I tell you this. She started sleeping after 2 weeks.
That's amazing. I mean, I actually don't, because I feel very blessed that that Clementine is sleeping. She just slept 11 hours last night, and she's 3 months old.
That's okay. My daughter made up for it when she became a teenager.
There you go. Right.
Now the inspiration for your songs, does it usually come from your life, or do you take your inspiration from many different places? How do you write?
Yeah, no, it's a really beautiful question. I tend to write in a very kind of I kind of like to reach in and pull out what's going on in my subconscious the best I can. It's almost like solving a puzzle piece. While I'm writing the song, I'm putting the puzzle together. So a lot of it is very much not on the nose. I like to write in a more kind of open poetic way, not to sound like, oh, I'm so poetic, but more so that people can actually hear my lyrics and make it their own and interpret it for themselves and relate to it. Like there might be a word, a lyric in there or a line in there where they're like, I don't quite know what that means, but I know what it means for myself, right? One of my favorite writers is Justin Vernon, and he plays with Bon Iver, for those of you that don't know. His writing is just so open-ended and so poetic, and kind of, you have to figure it out as you go. But I think his songs could be about so many different things, and that's how I tend to write. This album actually has a theme. Emergency Use Only, the single that's coming out, is about communication breakdowns with friends and family and partners, and how we all project our experience onto each other. It's about navigating those difficult conversations, and it's about kind of taking on someone else's stuff. And the album is titled Kisby Ring, the full record that's coming out in November. Do you know what Kisby Ring is? Do you know what that is?
I do not.
Yeah, no one does.
And you probably knew I didn't.
No one does. I've done like polls at all the shows that I've played. It's kind of a fancy word for lifesaver. The big orange lifesaver that you can like save people and toss out to sea. So every song on.
You mean like the one in your photograph?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And if people will have seen that photograph by this point in time, but I'll probably put it on the screen now so you can see it again.
Yeah, that would be great. The whole album is about kind of different parts of urgency, or different parts of needing help and needing to be saved or rescued. Low is obviously about dealing with sadness and depression. The Fall Apart is about kind of this urgency to figure out about like family or career, the urgency to start a family. And Kisby Ring itself is about kind of going through the motions with a relationship. And there's also a song on the album called Blind Spots, which is about the urgency of the Black Lives Matter movement and the urgency of white folks like myself doing some deep reckoning about systemic racism and doing some internal work about our own blind spots. So every song on the album has a different kind of perspective revolving around this sort of urgency, rescuing, saving, reckoning type of thing. So that's the image of the Kisby Ring.
It's interesting because as an older white man, I would never have thought when I was your age that those subjects would be so near and dear to my heart. Both BLM, because my grandchildren, my daughter married a really sweet guy, African-American guy that treats her like gold, and my grandchildren are Black. So for me, that particular issue has taken hold of my heart, just the same way that the rights of people who might be transgender or gay or whatever leanings they might have, all those are also near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that who would have expected it when I was, like I said, your age, that today, as almost 70 years old, these things are important to me. And I'm quite vocal about it. On many occasions, people will hear me say stuff and they'll look at me like I'm crazy. But
well,
I'm going to make my voice heard.
I think that it's really important to, I think all of us have to be able to try our best to step in other people's shoes. Obviously, I'll never know what it's like to walk in the shoes of a Black woman, a Black trans person, a Black man. But we all, no matter if we have family members that are Black or family members that are in the LGBT community, I feel like it's important for us to reach out with love and compassion and then, do some of our own healing, because systemic racism goes deep, 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 deep. And we've been, digesting it in little tablespoons at a time just by watching, some of the media that was extremely racist when I was growing up. It's in our bones. and we need to find a way to come together as white people, educate ourselves, do deeper work, and be active in putting an end to this. Whether or not we have family members, I think it's important for our listeners to know that this is a human, rights issue. This is not a political issue. Yeah.
Exactly. Couldn't agree with you more. Now, the fact that we have touched on so many important issues during our discussion today brings me back to another relatively silly question. Do you sing in the shower?
I actually don't. My partner does. I don't sing in the shower. I don't know why. My partner and I sometimes sing together, which is a really sweet thing that we do from time to time. And my favorite thing, I'm sorry if she is embarrassed by this, but I have to say it. My favorite thing is listening to her sing in the shower. Oh, it's just the best. It actually makes me tear up. She sings my songs in the shower.
Oh,
and it's like the
that is
sweetest,
marvelous.
and she does it at the sweetest, most beautiful way, and it like I just love that. So I don't sing in the shower. I don't sing in my car either. I don't like to listen to music in the car. Because I am mixing, producing, I'm like eating, living, sleeping, breathing music all the time. I like to take a break from it. So when I'm in the shower in the car, I'm just like, no.
Here's a question that I've gotten some interesting answers from other people. If you could pick anyone from music throughout history, dead or alive, to have with you, sitting with you and jam or sing or perform with, who would you pick?
It's an easy answer. I would pick Andrew Bird, hands down. He is, in my opinion, he is a genius. Brilliant songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, amazing looper. Every single record that he's put out, I have fallen deeply in love with. He's always been probably my biggest inspiration. I would collaborate with him. In a heartbeat. Yeah.
That sounds wonderful. I would love to be able to do the same thing with, there's a dozen people that would just be fun to just jam with, if nothing else. Even if it wasn't to come up with something professional sounding, but just to sit and have fun.
Who would yours be? Your first one that comes to mind?
First one that always comes to mind for me is Paul Simon.
Yeah.
That's only because that was the man that got me to pick up my first guitar.
He's just, I actually think about him too, and I know that Andrew Bird is deeply influenced by Paul Simon. I mean, who isn't? If you play music, Graceland is by far one of the greatest albums to ever exist. Hands down.
And when I started listening to him, of course, I was a kid, and he was still with Garfunkel.
Mm-hmm.
So the songs that piqued my interest in how to play were those songs that came out when they were working together as a team. And the book that I got back then, I still have it actually, it's in a drawer over there, is their greatest hit songbook.
Mm.
And in the songbook, it shows you how to make the chord shapes.
It's awesome.
So that's how I picked it up, and I figured, oh, that's an A minor, I can do that. And this is C, I can do, so I learned how to play some of those chords through that songbook. And then, of course, since then, it's been a fun ride.
I've been teaching some of my students some Simon and Garfunkel songs, like Scarborough Fair is one of the, such a, and you can really do some creative arrangements with that song, kind of interpretive, creative arrangements with Scarborough Fair that is uniquely your own. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, you promised us one.
Oh
more
yes,
song.
Definitely. I'm gonna actually play the single coming out in about a month, August 6th. You can pre-order it if you go to.
Yeah. Actually, this is going to air after.
Oh,
the 6th.
okay. Well, go and listen to it. It's out now. Good. All right, here we go.
I just called to stay awake on these dark and windy roads. You can nod off with a blink. These days life feels like a chore, thrown out to the deepest sea. Now I cannot find the shore, so take it out on me. All the stories in your head, you don't have to believe. Time may slip on by. The arc of what we know depends on how hard you try. So take it all out on me. Yeah, take it all out on me. I just called to say goodbye. It didn't go our way at all, so we rewrote every line. I know life can bring you down. Ooh, sending out an SOS. We can turn this thing around. So take it out on me. You project the story, and I'll be the screen. Don't let it slip on by. It doesn't matter what you know, it's about how hard you try. So take it all out on me. You take it all out on me. Take it all out on me. You project the story, I'll be the screen. Yeah, take it all out on me. Don't let it slip on by. Take it all out on me, and I'll be your screen. Take it all out on me. Don't let it slip on by. Take it all out on me.
All right, I'm really enjoying your sound, by the way.
Thank you.
It's really terrific.
Thank you.
I want to give you the opportunity to talk to our viewers about anything you'd like. Some last words, perhaps words of wisdom that you'd like to share. Things that you might want to just get people thinking about. So,
Sure. Yeah. No.
The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. First of all, yeah, thank you for doing this. Thank you for having such thoughtful, intentional questions and silly questions. And this is just such a special opportunity to be on your show. So thank you for having me. It's a real honor. Yeah, I want to encourage everybody to follow your heart and your dreams. And I know that sounds kind of corny, but if there's something that is pulling you, follow it, let it pull you. And I also encourage everybody to just be a little bit more loving, kind, compassionate. Invite, new kinds of friends into your lives. Get to know different kinds of people, because human beings are so beautiful. And I hope that everyone out there can just approach life in a more gentle, kind, compassionate, playful. Never lose your sense of play. That's, we all have to be fun, silly, and joyous. We only have so much time on this earth. So, those are the things. Follow what's pulling you. Be kind, be genuine, be compassionate, and enjoy every moment and play and be goofy.
Great advice. Great advice. Something I live by every day. My
Good.
wife will tell you that I am about as corny as they come. I want to thank you again for being on our show. It is always a pleasure to share young artists, new artists, people that we don't normally get a chance to see, and to put someone like yourself on the show and let people hear your music. It opens up a whole new audience for you from here on the East Coast. So hopefully you will see some donations or some purchases on your website, and we're going to get all that information. I've been putting things up throughout the show, so it's not like people don't know where to go to find this stuff, but I'll put it up again toward the end here, and we'll try to get you as much as we can and get as many new viewers for you as we can. Get people to show interest in your lessons and other things like that, and maybe we can get you more exposure that way as well.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for everything that you do and supporting artists like myself.
Oh, you're very welcome. Glad to do it. Now that's it for the show today, folks. I hope you enjoyed listening to Abby Posner. As you can see, she's quite a talent, and look for her online. We'll continue to look for her music over at this house anyway. And I'm sure that if you like anything about her, don't hesitate to reach out and contact her. Her website has all that information on it, so be sure to do that. If you have any questions for her, I'm sure she'd be happy to answer them. Now, one of the things I'd like you to do is to remember the pandemic is not over. I want you to continue to be safe. I want you to continue to do things that make sense to you. Now, if you're fully vaccinated, hopefully you're protected. But since we don't know everything about new variants, and because the variants keep changing almost on a weekly basis, play it safe. And keep music in your heart no matter what you do, because that's what gets us through these times. And I say it every show, at the end of every show, and I'll say it again to you now. Be sure to keep peace in your heart. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again next 2 weeks from now. Until then, take care.